How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's ZDC, and today we are doing the follow-up of the TRM Knives Red Line Camp Knife that I tested the other day, and we had two, in my opinion, major failures doing the testing. And during the video, we had some pretty severe issues with the handle and some chipping at the front. So I want to do a follow-up to that, just kind of talk about that situation, kind of close that a little bit, because this is not a knife that I'm going to be using moving forward, and I just want to really in-depth talk about that whole situation. So these are the specs on the two knives that were in the testing, and the video of the actual testing is right before this one if you want to watch the whole thing. Basically, it was just reenacting batoning that you would probably do on a camp trip, because this is a camp knife. It's called the Red Line Camp Knife. So I was trying to kind of reenact some things that you would do with the knife on a camp trip, and I did also use this ESEE 3HM, and this one did incredibly well in the testing, and the TRM failed. Let's kind of do a little bit of an introduction as to why I was doing the batoning. So on the TRM website, as of 2 days ago when we were doing the testing, this is advertised as kind of a hard use camp knife, and on their website it said that this is an outdoors knife for hiking and outdoor activities, and it's called the camp knife. And they say, you know, it's not necessarily a pry bar, but it's pretty close to it with the blade stock thickness, which I showed on that paper. And basically it's marketed as a literal camp knife that you would bring on your camping trip. And in my opinion, activities that you would be doing on a camping trip would be probably processing wood for a bonfire, you know, maybe batoning with it, whittling, maybe some camp cooking, making traps for fun, cutting open packages and, you know, things that food come in, rope, all types of things that you would be doing during your camp trip, right? So I started off by doing the batoning because that's the most important task to me. That is so debatable, and people are going to argue about it until the end of time. But in my opinion, if you make a beefy knife like this with that thick of a blade stock, and you call it a camp knife, I'm going to expect that I can baton with it. Is that something I do all the time with my camp knives? No, but I expect that if I have to, let's say I forgot my hatchet or something, or if I just wanted to kind of test the boundaries, I want to be able to baton with the knife, okay? So it's just something that I do with beefy outdoors knives. I want to see if they can go through wood unscathed. I also expect that I can touch up the knife on some sort of small pocket diamond stone like this DC4 stone, because obviously on a camp trip you're not going to be bringing a 3-piece diamond set. You're probably going to throw something small and lightweight like this dual-sided stone in your bag, and this is what you're going to use to touch up your blade on the camp trip, okay, to keep things lightweight. That's just how I work when I go on camp trips, okay, or any type of trip where I bring a knife. So in the video we were batoning some kiln dried firewood. It was pretty hard stuff, but wood isn't necessarily abrasive. However, I have had knives chip and roll and all kinds of stuff. If the heat treat is bad, or if the geometry is whack, you can get edge damage. And basically in the garage on the floor, I was batoning with this knife and the ESEE. I was being very careful as to not hit the concrete floor, but the reason I was doing it on the concrete was because, again, I'm trying to kind of reenact what you would be doing out on a camp trip. And it is very likely that out in the woods camping, you could drop your knife on the ground. There may be rocks. I wanted to see, even if I did nick the ground, what would happen to the edge, because if you're batoning too close to the bonfire or something, or like I said, you drop your knife, I am figuring there should be no edge damage by a little nick on the concrete, especially if I can take, 10 thou BTE K390 at 66.5 freaking HRC, and if I can whack this into bone, which I did on video, you can watch that, and if Levi can take his and whittle antler and smash it into antler like really hard, and there's no edge damage, I'm expecting that a camp knife that maybe you're even processing game with will not chip if you lightly tap concrete, okay? And that's just my thought, okay? So in the video, we baton with this. Two of the major things immediately were that, number one, the handle is the most uncomfortable handle I've ever used in my life. It is extremely angular, very square, really sharp, and it's not comfortable for camp tasks. This is not something I would want to be using for extended periods of time, because in the video I show you, as I'm batoning, I lift my hand up and you can see all the hot spots immediately through using this because of this awkwardly placed choil, and it's just such a sharp, angular square of a knife. It's extremely uncomfortable. And then also, I didn't think I hit the floor, but we had significant edge damage in the first probably inch and a half of the blade. Like I said, I did not feel myself hit the floor, and I filmed the whole thing and nobody really saw me hit the floor. The only thing we can think of, though, is that I lightly nicked the concrete because we had severe edge damage that I could not recreate throughout the rest of the video. The rest of the edge, I tried to whack it into the wood and stuff, and I couldn't recreate the chipping, but all up here was severely chipped. So I'm figuring I lightly nicked the floor and it just annihilated the edge. We had no damage to the SE whatsoever. It did incredibly well, even with the full flat grind. Went through the wood with ease. This is not the most ideal knife for batoning or anything, but again, it's a camp knife. I wanted to see what it could do. It did incredibly well, right? So, following up after that video, I did try to use this stone to get the edge damage out of the front of the knife, because again, I'm trying to pretend that we are using this on a camp trip, and that is what I would do camping. I was able to get the chips out. The steel, I wouldn't say it sharpened up super easily. It's still a little glassy up front. Like I said, the damage is done. Like it's all gone. But it wasn't like the easiest to sharpen on a pocket stone, I guess. It wasn't the easiest task to get that severe edge damage out with a pocket stone, but we did do it, so that's good. That part is good. But basically what I was kind of thinking is that maybe I'm figuring that the tip of the knife is burnt. The edge is burnt, and that's why it chipped so easily. The rest of the edge seems perfectly fine, but all up here I'm figuring was burnt. It is in 20 CV. It's only 17 thou BTE. Done by Peter's heat treat. I think it's 60 to 62, but that was kind of what happened in that video. So after I posted the video, I obviously tagged TRM in it so that they could see, because they sent this to me for free to test, and they, responded with a sad face. And that was it, just like a little crying face. So I took the initiative to be like, okay, let's have a conversation about this instead. What were you thinking when you put this in the hands of people? Because it doesn't even look like a camp knife. It looks like a kitchen knife. And that's what I said. It looks like a kitchen knife. I don't understand what is happening with the handle, and obviously something is wrong with the heat treat, the geometry, the steel, probably all three. None of this makes sense. It should have been MagnaCut. They're using MagnaCut, so why they didn't use MagnaCut to give us better toughness, I don't know. 20 CV is a really dumb decision for a camp knife, in my opinion. EDC knives, fine. Camp knives for outdoor activities, probably not. MagnaCut is way better suited. And basically, I took screenshots of the conversation. They are posted on my community page on YouTube so that you guys can see. But basically, they were like, their response was, I guess we should not have called it a camp knife. It's more of a kitchen knife. And they went on to say, we know you're very honest. Everyone else that we've put this in the hands of said the ergonomics were fantastic. So I responded saying, well, then everyone is lying to you. They must be fanboys, and that's what fanboys do. They won't tell you the truth. They're just going to be like, yes, everything's great all the time. Nobody in their right mind would say that this is comfortable, end of story. unless you have beefcake hands that fill up this 1.5-inch choil here and move around this weird thing, and then maybe your hands are like extremely calloused, and all of these angles don't affect you. I don't know, but I basically said back, well, everyone's lying to you because this is the dumbest handle I've ever felt in my life, and it's extremely uncomfortable. It just doesn't make sense. Also, sorry about the wind. It is crazy windy. And then they told me, forget about it being a camp knife, just use it in the kitchen. Like, please, just don't even do camp tasks, no outdoor stuff, just use it in your kitchen instead. And that was their response. Like I said, this is all posted screenshots on my page. You can look at them. Further on in the conversation, they said that they're gonna hold on production and revisit the design, which made me very happy. It was kind of funny to me how quickly they were like, just kidding, we're gonna redo the whole thing. Like, you must not have a lot of confidence in it then if you were that quick to redo the design. Like, if you were trying to skate by and sell these for $310, which is the price, $310. If you were trying to skate by and sell these for $310 with nobody noticing, sorry. But yeah, $310 for an extremely uncomfortable knife that chips, can't do it. So that's kind of where we stand now. They said that they're putting a hold on production. They were going to cut 100 water jet blanks, and they stopped everything to recheck the design with Les. I think I hurt their feelings a little bit, but hey, what are you going to do? They know that I'm honest. You want to dare to send me a knife that I'm actually going to use? Well, this is what happens. Sometimes it's not correct yet. So that's kind of what happened with that. Not sure where they're moving forward with that whole thing, but I felt that my testing was very fair. I felt that filming everything, no editing, and literally just batoning twice through wood was like a very respectful, easy task, and it failed, and there's nothing else that we can say about it, right? Like, it's just simply uncomfortable. It should have a much more ergonomic handle if it's going to be an outdoor camp knife, in my opinion. And if you're telling me immediately that it should be a kitchen knife instead, then you know something's wrong. Because a $310 20 CV kitchen knife is a lot different than a hiking, outdoor activity camp knife that you could almost consider a pry bar, right? Two very different things. Also, for the person that was like, well, maybe it's meant for game processing. Okay, so what's going to happen when you accidentally hit bone? It's going to chip. Nobody noticed me hitting the concrete. It was such a light tap that even I didn't notice. You think if you whack into bone on accident or something, or you're doing whatever, that it's going to be fine? No. It's faulty. It needs to be fixed. That's just what it is, okay? So following up to that whole thing, I just want to provide a little more context to this. So this is a Steve Kalari Custom Knives Steadfast EDC in Magna Cut. This is, I think, 64.5 HRC, really thin BT. It's like the same as the red line. So I think Steve told me it was 11 to 12 thou. I measured one time and I got different, and then I measured a few other times and I got like 17, I think. So I think it's like 17 thou BTE. I have a video of me batoning through the same exact wood, unscathed, okay? Completely unscathed. It's all on video and it comes out flawless. I have a video of me batoning with this little tiny BGM Knives mini spade, 62.5 to 63 HRC, full flat ground Magna Cut. I beat the crap out of this in the video, baton with it, just beating it all up, nearly unscathed. It had a couple of rolls, but really nothing bad at all. No literal chips, right? Like the edge of this one in the video, you see the actual chunks missing. A couple of minor rolls on this in the video that I did with it. Really nothing bad at all. And this is, I think this is 10 thou, I want to say. It's freaking thin. Again, like I said, beginning of the video, K390, freaking almost 67 HRC, just about. 10 thou, crazy thin, super steel. Ooh, you guys are gonna blow away. I've done some pretty messed up stuff with that knife on film. no damage, right? Even this little guy right here, this scrawny lumberjack seeker in 4V, I think this is 64 HRC. Kyle literally told me to baton with this. He's so confident in the geometry and the heat tree. He told me to baton with it, and that if it failed, he would redo it for me. So, you know, I'm not sure what TRM was trying to do. It's a flop in my opinion. They need to go back to the drawing board, kind of figure out what the fuck this thing is supposed to be, and try to do better, because I know they can do better. I also think it's a little bit of a marketing mess up, right? When you call something a camp knife, people are going to believe that they can do camp tasks with it. So it kind of has to encompass everything that you would do at camp. Batoning, whittling, camp cooking, cutting different materials, rope and plastic packaging, and whittling tent stakes maybe, or processing down pieces of wood to make little spoons and stirrers. Like it should have decent toughness and edge stability, so that if you drop it on the hard ground or concrete or freaking on the grill if you're drunk, it shouldn't chip. Does that make any sense? Like, it should just as a whole be a pretty stable damn knife if you're gonna call it a camp knife and tell people to go hiking with it, do outdoor activities with it. It's really odd on your website to say it's for outdoor activities, and then when we message about it, be like, forget camping, don't do anything outdoors, just use it in the kitchen, just use it as a kitchen knife. Because cutting on a plastic cutting board in a kitchen, making your goddamn fajitas with your mom, is way different than being out in the wilderness and relying on this for a 3-day camp trip. You know what I'm saying? Total flop. I hope that they fix it and do better. And, just for another quick example, I have a video of me with this little Essie here. Tiny little Essie. There's a video of me taking frozen beef marrow bones and literally stabbing and prying them apart in the garage with this, and like stabbing it in between two and then like hammering it into the ground to get them to split because they're all frozen. 0 edge damage, okay? And this is like baby shit soft 1095. This knife right here, Primitive Bear Knives, Hunter's EDC 80 CRV2 blade steel. I processed a whole bunch of fish on camera, like hacking through them, like cutting through literal bone and fins and their heads and shit, and it cuts through paper at the end of the video exactly the same as it did at the beginning. It can be done. It can be done. Knives should be able to do multiple things if you're marketing them to do multiple things. They have to be able to do it all. And that's your job as a custom maker or a company to just do it right, so that when people use the knife, it doesn't fail. It just wicked reminds me of the marketing issue that they had with the Benchmade bug out when this initially came out, and they named it the Benchmade bug out, and everyone in their heads was thinking, this is a great bug out knife, like this is for a bug out bag, this is for a bug out situation. And then in reality, we get it, we can snap it in our hands if we want to, it's flimsy as shit, and you couldn't rely on this for the life of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a very lightweight EDC knife, absolutely, and a very good one at that. But this is not something I would put in my bug out bag and kind of like rely on if shit hit the fan and I had a bag of necessities that I was, living off of for a week. This is not something I would rely on, especially not with, moving parts and being so lightweight and flimsy and fragile. This is not a bug out knife. It's a lightweight EDC knife. But marketing, names, sometimes we get a little ballsy with what we're naming things, and people assume they're going to do those things, and then it's like, maybe we should have renamed it. So that's kind of the update on that whole situation. Like I said, I'm right next door to TRM. I'm in New Hampshire. They're in Massachusetts. Wicked nice people. I've got tons of respect for them. I love them as people. But quite frankly, as knife designers, knife makers, knife users, I just want to see them grow and improve, because the Atom, the Neutron, they're wicked cool little pocket knives. I know that they have the capability to come up with something that makes sense, and this just simply doesn't. So I just wanted to give a little bit of follow-up as to that whole situation, because I'm not going to use that knife anymore, obviously, and I hope that they revise it or maybe make another version and sell both, because apparently everyone loves holding the cell phone. Everyone finds this really sharp, square knife super comfortable, supposedly, so maybe they'll just make a different one, an Erica version, with no corners, because I must have baby hands. I mean, you know, for a chick, I feel like my hands are pretty fucking beat up. Like, I've got calluses. Not that big of a pussy, am I? I don't know. Maybe I am. Anyway, that's all of the information about that. I don't know. I have nothing else to say. I hope that you guys have a great day. I will see you guys soon. I love you all so much. Thank you for the continuous support on the channel. Thank you for watching this. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I love you all so much. Go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. Dude, look at that edge. Woo. That's gorgeous. Learn how to sharpen your knives. Don't let your stuff blow away today. I'll see you guys on the next video. I love you guys so much. Take care. Also, P.S. we're doing another Crewwear dart drop. We're doing a K390 dart drop. But also, Crewwear minks. Crewwear minks. That's what we're doing next. I can't wait to show those to you guys. You guys are gonna shit your fucking pants when you see those. Little EDC. It's gonna be like a slim EDC knife, but a little bit bigger than this, bigger blade, all that good stuff. But it's gonna be called the Mink, and they're in Crewwear, and they're in the works right now. So, shh, those will be coming soon. I love you guys so much. Take care.